Where is it? Let me find that graph, okay? This graph here, right? So here's the graph. So basically we are saying that this total cost, right? That's this orange line, right? So variable cost, what does variable cost mean? Variable cost is the slope, right? Variable cost is the slope of the orange line. So how steep this would be, right?
Okay.
Okay. The steeper it is, that means the variable cost is higher, right?
Okay.
So you know, here the orange line, that's a 60 plus 120,000, right? So sorry, 12,000. So
I'm sorry, Professor. Do you mind talking about it in terms of numbers? I'm not very good with graphs. They sometimes confuse me.
Oh,
so
okay. Okay. So you know what I will do? I will make a video. Okay.
Okay.
So I will make a video to show you, right? To show you, you know, the number wise and the graph wise, what do you mean by better and worse? So they both have advantage or disadvantage, right?
Okay.
So for the fixed cost, the higher fixed cost one. So if you have a higher fixed cost, okay, so that means it's really challenging in the beginning, right? Because you have you have more cost to cover in order to break even, right? But once you get over that point, okay, then it's really good for you because your variable cost is low. You have a better contribution margin, like 80%, right? So once you cover your fixed cost, right, every $1 you make, you are making 80 cents, right?
Okay.
But for ABC companies, right, once you covered your fixed cost, every dollar you make, every dollar you sell, you make 40 cents, right?
Okay.
You see the difference? If you have a, if you are heavy with fixed cost, but you have originally you have a big battle to fight, right? Because you want to make sure I'm able to generate enough contribution margin to at least break even, right? So
that's right.
It's harder to break even if your fixed cost is higher, right?
Okay.
And then, you know, if you have a lower fixed cost, it's easier to break even, right? So
that's right. Yeah.
You have less risk, right? But the point is, which one is going to be more profitable, right? So once you reach break even, after that, if you have less variable cost, that means you have high contribution margin. So that company will help you make more money, right? If you have the same amount of sales, right?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah. So I will try to use both ways. I use this way and also use a graph to explain it. Yeah. So you can see they both have advantage and a disadvantage. Yeah. Okay, so operating leverage. I send you guys an email and with the video. So in that video, I explained what's the operating leverage. Did you find that helpful? Do you understand about what's the operating leverage from that video? Did you watch it yet? Okay, Florence, watch it. Okay.
I watched it. It was good. It was helpful.
So is that clear in terms of explaining this concept? What's the operating leverage?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Okay, so basically the degree of DOL, the degree of operating leverage, it's really about, you know, how the company's earnings, right? The volatility of the company's earnings. So what does that mean? You know, if there is my sales, right? If the market is not doing well, my sales dropped by 1%. How does that, you know, translate into my operating income, right? So if my sales drop by 1%, my net income, my operating income only dropped by 0.1%. So I would say that this company's earnings is not volatile, right? It's not volatile. But if my sales drop by 1%, my operating income dropped by 50%. Well, this company is highly volatile, right? So, anything change in the market is gonna affect you a lot, right? So the idea is, you want to have a degree of operating leverage, right? That this one, right? You wish that this effect is small, right? This effect is small. So basically, how do you do the calculation? You use contribution margin divided by operating income. Okay, contribution margin divided by operating income. So this is your operating leverage. Okay, so if it's not clear, make sure you go to watch my video. Okay. Okay, so here, ABC company, that degree of operating leverage is 2.67. Okay, DEF company, when you use contribution margin divided by operating income, so that degree of operating leverage is 5.33. Okay, so what does this mean? How do we interpret these numbers? Okay, suppose both companies have an decrease in sales by 10%. Okay, so the ABC company's operating income will decrease by 26.7%. How do we get that number? We use this degree of operating leverage times the decrease in sales. Okay, and the DEF company's operating income will decrease by 53.3%. Okay, you can see that this DEF is more volatile, right? So 10% decrease in sales has much bigger impact on DEF, right, than ABC, right? Is twice as much impact on, right, 53.3 to 26.7, so that 2 times. Okay, does this make sense? Degree of operating leverage. So the idea is, I hope that you guys have already watched that video before you come to this lecture. If you haven't, that's fine. Make sure you watch it after, okay? And hopefully it will make more sense after you watch that. Okay, so this is the one. So here's the question. Cost structure refers to the relative proportion of, right?
Fixed costs versus variable costs.
So answer is D, right? Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so that's the end of the class. Do you guys have any questions? Are you guys comfortable with all the calculations? So we don't have any fancy one, right? I'm not talking about derivatives or integrals, right? This is really just a simple algebra or simple math, right? Calculations, division, multiplications, right? So do you guys find that the math part is challenging? Lots of numbers, or?
I was just gonna say that the math part is pretty simple. It's just like the information, comprehending it, what it's asking you per se.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, I see. So then it's important that you understand the concept, right? So whenever there's a concept definition or a term, right, it's important we understand what is the contribution margin per unit, what is contribution margin ratio, right? What is the margin of safety? What's the margin of safety ratio? How these different concepts connect with each other, right? So I guess that would require some more practice. Yeah. So the calculation is simple, but sometimes it's just like you have to be able to, draw the information from the question, right? To kind of know where you're going, right? So maybe that's the challenging part.
Yes, yeah, you put it right. It's just like drawing the information, but once you get the concept, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So I think when you practice more questions, that's going to be very helpful, right? So the only way we can do better all the time is practice, right? Read the question and then you can practice. Okay, what does this information tells me, right? What can I get out of this information? Is this information relevant or it's irrelevant, right? It's just, you just have to practice to know, you know, how you can use it, whether you should use it, right? Things like that. Just do more practice questions. Yeah, I already set up the bonus work number 2 in the Valley. So you go to the Valley Plus, you can start working on the chapter 5 and the chapter 6 bonus work. Okay, make sure you do it, right? It's you know, it helps you to practice more, right? To also review a little bit the knowledge on the chapter 5. So chapter 6 is not that bad, right? It's very useful, but it's not that bad, right? Cost, volume, profit analysis.
Yes, no,